something that I think is often misunderstood in people's conversations about hell and judgment is a lack of awareness about the glory and the goodness of God, and how, because He's so glorious, because He's so good, He's the source of all goodness. By definition, an existence that's cut off from Him is more devastating than we can understand. And there's a correlation, and to use an analogy, like, let's say you're a kid, a high school kid, and you're grounded, and there's a concert in town the weekend you're grounded, and you find out about the concert, and it's a band that you like a good, a little bit, so you're really frustrated about missing this concert. Well, if it's a really amazing band, like a really, really good band that you've been longing to see for a long time, well, then you're going to feel more of a sense of loss and deprivation. And if this was like the greatest band that's ever existed in the history of the universe, like the ultimate concert experience that could never be matched ever again, like, you're going to feel a deep sense of loss. That's kind of how I think it's best to understand a soul being deprived of God. Like, if you're deprived of something good, you're going to suffer. If you're deprived of something great, you're going to suffer more. And if you're deprived of something that's perfect, in every possible sense of the word, immeasurably perfect, the suffering is greater because of the deprivation of something so glorious. So to downplay, to tone down that sense of deprivation in hell requires downgrading the glory of God. Now, I think it's very, very important. C.S. Lewis does a really good job of explaining this in his book, The Problem of Pain. I think the best way to understand what the Bible says about hell is that it's God giving people over to their own desires. It's God telling people who want to run away from Him that they can have it their way. And hell is not an example of God rejecting souls that want Him. It's an example rather of souls rejecting God. And because God is the only source of life and goodness and wellness and peace and wholeness that exists, by definition, he there is no other source. You can't reject Him and retain any of the comfort that can only be had in Him. To use an analogy, let's say that there's a single fireplace in existence in the world, and this one fireplace is the single source of heat in the world. You can't back away further and further and further from the fireplace and still retain that sense of warmth and comfort that can only be had in the fireplace. To run a million miles away in the opposite direction is to cut yourself off from that which is good that can only be had here. That's the most biblical picture of hell. Hell is not God arbitrarily excluding people. It's not God being cliquish. It's not God being temperamental. It's not none of those things. It's God allowing people to be given over to their own desires. It's God removing His hand. And that's what the Bible means, I think, when it says He gave them up to their own desires. And that in itself is a form of judgment. When God withdraws His hand and allows a person to wander in the direction He's bound and determined to go, that's nothing good follows, because you're leaving the one and only source of anything that's good. But I think it's very important to understand that it's the soul's rejection of God. To use like a social media phrase, hell is not God unfriending people, it's people unfriending God.